On this story, I need Maui. I need a priest. I need a pretty young woman. So, Maui, first of all. Gotta have a Maui. Come on, folks. All right, good. We got a Maui. Stand over there for the moment, please. I need a priest. All right, right next to him. Right next to him. Okay. And I need a pretty young woman. Good. Okay. You can be right over here for now. Okay. Now, Maui was always interested in learning. And Maui wanted to learn how to do things, or how did other people do things. And he was always trying to expand his knowledge. And so he got interested in one of the priesthoods of old Hawaii, in the priesthood of Kahu. Now, Kahu was a very strict priesthood. And they had a lot of rules and a lot of regulations. But Maui knew that if you're going to study from a teacher, if you want to study with that teacher, you follow that teacher's rules. And so Maui went to the temple of Kahu and asked to become a priest, so he could learn all about it. And after finally deciding that maybe, possibly, he was serious, okay, why they accepted Maui, and we'll use an English word, as an acolyte, which means like an apprentice priest. And so he was accepted, and he was given a Kahu. Now, Kahu means someone who takes care of you, someone who guides you, someone who advises you. And it was another priest of Kahu. So this is the Kahu. Okay? And one day, they were going from one temple to another temple, which was a long distance away across the land and through the jungles. And so they're walking along. Now, when you walk, don't move, just walk. Okay? So the Kahu and Maui are walking along in silence, because they had several kapus, several rules at this order, at this time for the acolyte. Silence, and fasting. See, fasting was unusual, but the priests of Kahu did it sometimes. Fasting and having nothing to do with women. Right? Maui, that was a hard one for Maui, but he wanted to learn so much that he finally decided to do it. So here they are, and they're walking through the wilderness. Now, in the wilderness, as they're walking along, they come up to a river. Now you can be on this side. And as they reach the river, they see this pretty young girl crying. She has a basket of food sitting by her side. There's your basket of food. Okay. And she's crying her heart out. So when they come up and stop, they stop because the river is really raging strong. And she says, "Oh, please help me across." She says, "My family's starving. I have to bring them this food, but I can't cross the river." The Kahu doesn't even look at her. And he strides right by. That's right. Strides right by, crosses the river to the other side, and starts walking that way.
This way.
That way, right. Okay. Maui comes up and stops, motions for the girl to get on his back. Now, you don't have to really get on his back. Just let's stand up, okay? Just put your arms like you're on his back, okay? With your basket of food, you gotta have your back, okay, all right. And so Maui carries her across the river. And the old Kahu sees this. And as they walk, you can go back now. Okay. And so as they now come back over here, like you have passed the river and you're walking that way. Good. And you're walking this way. Come on up about here. Okay, now you're walking along the trail. And the Kahu is getting more and more upset. And more and more and more upset. And after they go along about a mile or a kilometer or two, he gets so upset that he finally stops and he turns to Maui and starts yelling at him. And he says, "Why did you stop and pick up that girl?" He said, "You're not supposed to have anything to do with women. They are a temptation. They could seduce you. They could make you lose your vows. Why did you do that?" And Maui turns to the Kahu and he says, "Are you still carrying that girl? I put her down at the river." Thank you very much. Okay. The fourth principle says, now is the moment of power. Now. These first four principles are the first four that I was taught as principles, and they became, a real fundamental basis. That first of all, the world is what you think it is. You're the ones who decide what your world is. You're the ones who interpret what happens. You are the ones, from your point of view, that make the rules about your own life, about what's good and bad and right and wrong, important and not important. And then you react to those rules and the effects of those rules. So that when we say that the world is what you think it is, it doesn't mean that you can, well, actually you can believe the world is whatever you want. And how effective that belief is, you'll find out by your feedback from the world. So if you think the world is nothing but pure energy, and you can, you are pure energy or pure spirit, and you can walk through walls, well, you'll find out very quickly how deeply you believe that. Okay? Okay? Once you try. Right? So you've got two things going. You've got what you would like the world to be, and what another part of you experiences the world as being. And both of those parts interact all the time, producing your particular experience. Now, this way of thinking says there may be a world outside of the way you think it is, but so what? Because if it's outside of the way you think it is, you're never going to know anything about it. Right? So deal with the world that you think it is and that gives you feedback, and then try to come to some kind of harmony with that. Okay? So that's what the big teaching about that is. Because the next principle that we go to, which says there are no limits, it suggests that the fact that you believe something about the world today doesn't mean you have to keep believing it. The fact that you find out that you can't go through a wall the way you want to go through a wall doesn't mean that you can't go through a wall. And so you can make a doorway. Okay? Now this is very interesting. I'm going to tell you a story related to this that captures a lot of these principles together, because this was an experience during a meditation that I led. And in this one, the assignment was for people to make up a story. And the story they was supposed to make up was there was this big wall. You can't go over it and you can't go under it. The only way is to go through it. Find a way to get beyond the wall. And so we had a meditation time for everybody to do this. And when everybody came back, one after one after one of the group, people were saying, well, I used a bulldozer. And another one said, well, I used a cannon. And another one says, well, I used a drill. And another one, they had all these different kinds of ways of blasting and breaking through the wall. And then one man said, well, maybe I did something wrong because I didn't do it like that. We asked him how he did it, and he said, well, I asked the wall to make an opening for me. And it did, and he walked through. What a different approach. Okay? From a different perspective, from a different way of looking at the world, from different expectations. How something else is possible. Okay? The more we find out about how other people do things, the more opportunities we have for doing things differently ourselves. So even hearing a story can give you a new idea, maybe about some other part of your life. It happens.